Welcome inside Payroll Connected. I'm excited to show you how fast your payroll can be by using our software. Before I get going, I want to let you know that in the top corner of the software, you can always review this video again by simply clicking on the start and end time scheduling option. This will bring up another link to watch this video again, so you can go back and maybe catch some information you missed the first time through. It also allows you to check out the other scheduling options available. These options will automatically hide and show fields pertinent to that scheduling type. This is a sample company I have set up where 3 employees are ready to get paid for work they did for your company. The first time through, I'm going to go a little fast to show you how quick it is to enter in your shifts using Payroll Connected. The next time through, I'm going to slow down and talk about various features as we go. And then the third time through, I'll just put it through fast again so we can see what the final product looks like. So to get started, I'm going to start by setting a date on which the employee worked, in this case August 9th. Department's automatically set to working, location head office, employee is going to be Evan Drury. And then down in the set shift duration field, we can set the start time, in this case it'll be 8 o'clock. They get a break for lunch at 12 o'clock. And then they stopped working at 5 o'clock and went home. So when I click on Add Shift to Check Days, you can see it in the calendar below. Now we can go and add another shift for this employee by simply changing the date and simply set the start time for this employee. They started at 9, they had a break at 12, came back at 12:30, and then they ended the day at 4:30. Click on Add Shift to select a day, and now this one is added. Now, for those of you who are using the Lite or the Pro package, you can schedule maybe a little bit faster too by clicking the little plus sign on the Copy Shift to Multiple Days section. By clicking this plus sign, it will reveal another section where we can copy a shift to multiple days. So once again, we'll change the shift day that they worked on to August 11th. And we'll set a start time for them. In this case, they started at 8 again, had a break at 12, break ended at 1, and went home at 5. Now we can go down here, instead of clicking on Add Shift to Check Days right away, and any day on which they worked this shift, we can simply put a check mark in those days, and it will copy that shift to those days. By clicking Add Shift to Check Days now, you can see that it has added those shifts for the entire period, and this employee's scheduling is basically done. So now if we scroll up to the top and go Management, Payroll Prepare, and set the correct pay period end dates, in this case they're bi-weekly, so it is August 21st, click on Submit Date, and using those schedules, Payroll Connected automatically creates the payroll for this employee. We can check out their payslip by clicking here, and then if this is correct, we can simply put a check mark that we have reviewed and finalized the payroll, move on to finalization, and when we click on Finalize this payroll, it will email the payslip right to the employee's inbox. Or you can uncheck this if you want to print it out and give it to them yourself. So that's all there is to doing a payroll with Payroll Connected. It's all about the scheduler. So if we go back to the scheduler by going General and Scheduler, now we'll move a little bit slower and go through some of the details of this screen. If you ever need help while using Payroll Connected, you can contact Payroll Connected by clicking on the link down in this gray bar, which is found on every page inside the software. Our support is available from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week. So we will always have support anytime you need it. For additional help, you can also click on Watch Video Tutorials. If you like the software, watch these video tutorials to ensure that your company is configured correctly, further information on entering new employee records, and more details about using the scheduler and finalizing payrolls. There's also additional tutorials below this, so please do watch them all and you'll be using Payroll Connected like an expert in no time. Now, let's schedule another employee for work for this company. As I briefly touched on, you'll notice that certain fields in here have plus marks and minus signs. To show a field, simply click on the plus mark to bring it up, and to hide a field, click on the minus sign for it to go away. You'll also see that various fields throughout the software have a little magnifying glass beside it. By putting the mouse over the magnifying glass, the software will give you additional information about this field and how it works. So now let's get on to scheduling another employee for work. We'll start by setting the first day that they worked in the period. In this case, this next employee didn't work the Monday, but they did work on the Tuesday, so we'll set it to August 10th. And once again, I'll hide this field down here until we want to use it. Once we have the date set, and then just choose the employee you want to schedule for. In this case, we'll use Raymond. Next, you can set the shift duration in the start and end times field. There's a few different ways that you can use this field. Note that the start time is the most important time in this section because the start time will determine the flow through for the other times. So for example, if you use a start time of 6 o'clock, if it's in the morning, it'll automatically figure that 11 for a break start will be 11 a.m., break end of 12 will be noon, and then an end time of 3 would be 3 p.m. Notice there's various ways you can enter in times in this section. You can just enter the number of hours if it is at the top of the hour. You can add minutes by using a semicolon, or you can use a military time style by just entering the minutes right after the number of hours. And you can also use the 24-hour clock. So you could use 1500 instead of 3 o'clock. There's many different ways you can enter the time, and Payroll Connected understands it all. You can even do half hours by using a decimal point, and the software will know that to be a half hour, 30 minutes. If we click on Add Shift to select a day, we can see how it added it below in the employee's calendar view. In the calendar view, if we need to make a change to a shift, you'll notice there's a little pencil icon. By mousing over the pencil icon, we can select to either delete the shift outright or we can edit it. When you click on Edit, the screen will refresh and advise you that the shift has been deleted. So if we were to leave this page at this point, the shift would be gone. However, it also brings the details back into the start and end time section below, where we can modify this shift if we need to, and then just click on Add Shift to select a day once again for that change to take effect. As you can see here, our change has been made. When you're getting ready to start a shift, and let me just make visible the multiple days section again for those again using Light and Pro package, you can set the date on which the employee worked using a variety of methods. You can use the calendar, which we have been using so far, by just simply clicking on the day, and it will set that day for the scheduling. Further, if you have the Add Shift to Check Days section visible, you can also click on the dates in here, not the checkbox, but the dates, and it will refresh the screen and use that date for the next shift you're going to add. Additionally, if you're down in the calendar section and don't want to scroll up to the top, you can also click on the text down here, and then the software will refresh and use that date for the shift date. So there's different ways that you can add shifts within Payroll Connected. Another way that you can use the shift duration is if you want to simply kind of enter just the number of hours the employee worked within a day, simply start the shift at midnight, which would be 0 hours, and then set the end time. In this case, this will give them a 5-hour shift. When we click on Add Shift to Check Days, you can see in the calendar that even though it's a bit of an odd shift, they didn't really work from midnight to 5 a.m., the number of hours is correct. So if you were using some of the other scheduling methods, this is how the schedule would look. So for those of you who just want to enter a fast schedule to tell the software just how many hours the employee actually worked and not caring so much about keeping the complete accurate schedule, that's a really fast way to plug in your scheduling. So let me just go ahead and finish up scheduling for Raymond, and then we can see how it adds them to the payroll run. To speed things up, I'm going to just use a regular shift, and I'm going to use the add shift to check days section to simply add them to those days. Notice that when we're working down in the add shift to check days section, once again for those on Lite and Pro packages, there's a couple of days with different colored cells inside this section. The cell with the green background indicates the date that you chose to add this shift to above. That means that even if I were to uncheck this shift, the software will still add a shift to this day because that's the day you told it at the very start that you want a shift added to. The other cell color to note is this yellowish color. This tells you what days are statutory holidays, so it makes it easy to either decide whether to add a shift to the stat day or avoid it for your employees. Again, all stat pay is calculated completely automatically by your provincial labor standards. So by clicking Add Shift to Check Days, by scrolling down, we can see that the schedule has been completed for this employee. And if we go back up to Management, Payroll Prepare, and then do a payroll prepare for our pay period end date of the 21st, it has added this employee to the payroll run, just like that. Now when you're in here, if you notice that some hours are off for an employee, click on the View Timesheets button. This will bring up a listing of every shift that the employee worked within this pay period that the software is picking up. It makes it really easy to find out if you have double shifted them on a single day, or maybe you scheduled them for a shift that they didn't actually work on a different day. Either way, it's easy to see it here, and then just simply go back to the scheduler and delete the shift or change the shift to correct the payroll run. To review the pay slips for the employees, click on View Sample Pay Slips. This will bring up an unofficial pay slip for this employee. All the money that the employee earns is on the left-hand side as a positive number, and all the money coming off as deductions is on the right-hand side as a negative number. So it makes it really easy to read, and then it gets to your net pay, and these slips look exactly as the official pay slips will look if you were to move on and finalize this payroll. Now, as I said, we have one more employee to add to this payroll run. So we'll go back to General and Scheduler. And by the way, you don't have to do a payroll prepare in between every single employee you add to the payroll run. I'm just doing this so we can see the process as it goes on. Again, I'll use August 9th as the date that the employee worked. I'll change the employee to Haley. And in this case, I'm going to just use the start and end time. So I'm going to hide the add shift to check days section. And I'll just put in some times for this employee. We've got 8, 11, 12 for a break, and then 4. Add shift to check days. They also worked on the 10th. In this case, I'll just do a quick shift for 8 hours. Add shift to check days. They also worked on the 11th. On the 11th, they only worked 7 hours though, so I'll use a quick shift and just add 7. And they also worked on the 13th. And maybe just a 4-hour shift on the 13th. So, as I said, the start time is the most important bit. We could either use 13 to indicate 1 o'clock. Again, that'd be 24-hour time. It would automatically understand that it's PM, so I wouldn't have to change this number. In fact, why not try this out? 17, add shift to check days. And we can see on the 13th, we have a 4-hour shift starting at 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Next day they worked is the 16th. And if you feel more comfortable using PMs, we could give them a 4-hour shift starting at 2 p.m. and then use an end time of 6, add shift to check days, and you'll see that it has the 4-hour shift here, starting at the 2, ending at the 6. We're going to add a shift to August 18th as well, and then we'll consider this schedule done. So August 18th is selected. We'll go start time 8, and we'll end it at 12. So just a 4-hour shift on that day. All right, so once again, we can go to Management, Payroll Prepare, set the pay period end date, submit date, and you can now see that 3 employees are added to our payroll run. Once again, we can review the sample pay slips to make sure everything is correct, and please do take the time to review these pay slips and make sure it's accurate, because you cannot easily change a payroll once it's been finalized. You have to contact Payroll Connected support. It takes 24 hours to make any changes, and there is additional fees to us making changes for you. So do make sure that you have reviewed them. And then all I would need to do is click on Finalize this payroll, and the payroll's done. So just like that, super easy to do payroll inside Payroll Connected. I know that the scheduler can be a little intimidating at the start, which is why we offer free support from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week. Just click on Contact Payroll Connected or give us a call at 250-540-4560. And if you like the software, do click on the Watch Video Tutorials link for additional information on how to get your company configured, how to create your best employee records, and additional information on the scheduling and finalization of payrolls. And there's also additional video tutorials down here as well, custom bonuses, setting up direct deposits, and so on. So thank you for trying Payroll Connected. I hope you found this video tutorial to be useful, and if you have any questions, please let us know.